This is a Caterpillar D8T. This is it's in a standard configuration. It does have an optional multi-shank ripper on the back. This is a fairly new machine. It's got about 3,000 hours on it. I believe this machine's about 5 years old or so. The weight on this machine is, these run about like 39 metric tons, which is 86,000 pounds. That's the shipping weight on the machine. Like I said, it's got the multi-shank ripper on it. Right now I've just got one ripper shank in there. We've been ripping a lot of rock with this machine. It's what they call a 4-barrel ripper, meaning that it's got 4 hydraulic cylinders back here. These hydraulic cylinders, the upper 2 cylinders, tip the ripper tooth back and forth. It changes your angle on your ripper tooth. It changes the angle that it's engaging the ground. Right there you can see with the ripper tooth tipped all the way forward, the ripper tooth lays pretty flat. When those cylinders are retracted all the way, the ripper tooth stands pretty straight up and down. These lower cylinders lift the ripper frame up and down. You can see that there's a light back there for nighttime operation. There's also lights up on top up here. The blade on this is about 12.5 feet wide, and it's a 12 cubic yard blade. Top of the blade's about 5 foot tall. Plus it's got that little debris rack on there. This machine, as you can see, these masts with these heads, these are Trimble GPS system. Actually has machine controls for the guidance. So inside there's a computer monitor screen that you can program with different plans, like blueprints, what we call a model, 3D modeling, and so from inside the cab you can monitor what you're doing, but it also has machine controls that you can turn over control of the machine to the computer, and the computer will run the blade to keep you on grade. This machine, I think these run about 350 horsepower. I think is what they run. I don't remember exactly what motor they have. It's a straight 6 turbo diesel, single turbo. But there's a picture of what the motor engine compartment looks like, the air filter, alternator, and fuel filters. The operator station, the instrument panel up there, that is the computer monitor for the Trimble grade control. Overhead you've got your air conditioning controls and stereo, windshield wiper or window wiper controls. This is the your main drive control, your steering unit, forward and reverse, shift up and shift down, and speed control, and then park and brake. Your speed control, what that does is this computer monitor will monitor the pressure in the torque converter, which will give it an idea of the resistance. You can actually set in this monitor what you want basically the torque converter pressure to remain at, and it'll kind of monitor the speed that way. It actually does monitor the speed up to tenths of miles per hour, and it can hold it on the exact speed if you get too much of a load on the blade, it will lift the blade to allow you to carry a consistent load at a consistent speed. If you're carrying loads for a long distance, it's pretty handy. This is the blade control. Of course, up, down, and tilt side to side, and it's got float position. These switches, and there's also a trigger switch underneath here, are for the GPS guidance. This switch here will turn the guidance on and off, and when you pull the trigger, you can increment up and down. So I have the increment settings on this set at 0.25 of a foot, a quarter of a foot, 3 inches. So every time when I pull the trigger, I can increment up or increment down from whatever the model specifies the elevation is going to be. And your light switches, throttle switch, hydraulic safety lockout, auto downshift, and your ripper control. This raises and lowers the ripper. This tips the ripper tooth forward, and this tips it back. And then this is auto stow. You can set in the computer how you want the ripper to stow. I have it stowed. I set it so that when I hit the auto stow, it raises up and pulls the tooth in. And then this is a draft control, which will allow it to automatically drop down, and while you're ripping, it's kind of like the speed control on the blade. If you're ripping and you get into some hard material and it stops the machine, it'll lift, just like the draft control on a farm tractor. It will work the same way. On this side is your hydraulic tank right here. Got the little window there. Tells you what your hydraulic level is. Inside of this box right here is the dipstick for the transmission and the fuel tube. Of course, across the back is fuel tank. I think these hold about 150 gallons of fuel. Here's the filler for the fuel tank, and it's got that little catwalk railing up there so that you don't fall off while you're trying to fuel your machine. Kind of a safety feature. It's a big machine, big heavy machine. Can really move the dirt though. They'll move about 2,000 yards of dirt a day in good conditions. So and that is it for the Caterpillar D8T.